It was not a good weekend for G2 at all. Why did G2 have such a horrible week, Jacob?
I was gonna raise my hand because I had the.
Fine, Darin, start. Go ahead.
No, I mean, like it was basically a 3v5 in that first game against Misfits. The Wonder Sona pick ended up not working out at all. Caps, or his alter ego, the negative alter ego of Craps, showed up to play with 4 deaths before 10 minutes and 7 deaths before 15. They just picked on him.
9 and 4, baby.
Yeah, it was not good. And the thing is like the later the game goes, the better it is for G2. So, I mean, you're still going to dish out damage if you have a ton of items. That doesn't really matter. But here's the thing. G2 was good enough to still scrap with Misfits for a little bit before the game actually like kind of imploded all in their face. There was one specific moment that actually saved us. It was actually right here. That play right there that you're seeing on your screen where Bavoy dodged the barrel with his Featherstorm. He dodged that barrel and Misfits ended up winning that fight and turning their 3,000 gold lead into a 6,000 gold lead. That's where the game opened up. Right there. So there was some mechanically impressive moves made by Misfits. They were playing really high
caliber.
And
there's Razork versus G2.
And
look at those numbers.
Razork's Echo combined with Dan's set with the parallel convergence into the showstopper for the what a play. I loved watching them.
That was some love. Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, Misfits started this game off really sloppy. Razork made a dive on bot lane that went the opposite direction in the way that it was supposed to be executed. But Misfits was on it in the mid game, and that was on the back of Razork. Dinnick as well. Also, the 2 rookies on this team are very, very good. They deserve tons of praise, both in the running, in my opinion, for Rookie of the Split for the LEC. And overall, like, I think that, like, ban Echo. You need to ban Echo against him.
I wouldn't say that, not yet. That's only one game.
Well, he plays it a lot in solo queue, and he's pretty well regarded for it there too. So this was a little bit predictable because he thrashes people on it in solo queue.
Maybe.
But I will say my overall thought on G2 on the weekend was that Misfits beat them fair and square, and that they beat themselves a little bit against Schalke. And I don't want to detract from Schalke. I know they're going through some stuff with Lurox and with Inax coming in place of Gilius and Forgiven. So they do deserve a little bit of credit for trying to improve. But I did feel that the Misfits game was them truly losing to Misfits, who was playing better.
Yep.
Schalke, like, there were just some really stupid mistakes that were coming back to back.
And a little bit later on, we're going to get to Tyler and Emily, and they will dissect G2 and their challenges in this week. But let's focus on Misfits, because we got to give them credit, right? They were the ones to dethrone G2's undefeated season so far in this split, in this split, I should say. But also, why don't we identify some of the things, some of the positives that you saw all weekend long as it pertains to Misfits?
Yeah, Razork and Dinnick. Those are the ones I point to. Everybody on this team has played well, but those 2 in particular, considering their rookies, considering like,
but you also have that veteran leadership of Febiven in the mid lane. And here's what I really like about Febiven. He leads the LEC mid laners with a 5.7 KDA right now. He's playing solid mid lane, and when he's on a playmaker like LeBlanc, Diana, Kiana, or Azir, champions he's won on, he's doing really well. Don't put him on an Orianna. Keep him on mobile playmakers and see how far you can go with this Misfits team. I really think that a Misfits group that is more proactive with an Echo jungle or a Diana mid or a Xayah late game hyper carry for Bavoy, I think that's a much stronger Misfits overall, and then to one of the reasons you're seeing a lot of success of them in the LEC.
One thing I will mention is the matchup G2 had against Misfits. Misfits was a much more dominating win than Schalke was. Schalke was just an absolute bloodbath on both sides. But Misfits, G2 was left with 0 Barons and 0 Dragons in that game. So it was a decisive victory for Misfits.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it was one where Misfits felt like they were throwing away the game early and then kind of scaled back in that mid game and the mid to late game before they ended the game. But you know, G2 is this team that is known for being very strong very early. Obviously, Jankos has the First Blood King name for a reason because he's very good in playing on aggressive.
Also got 2,500 assists this weekend as well.
Yes, he did, even though it was a little messed up on broadcast, which was kind of fun.
It said 24.99 plus 1.
Well, it's because they did it wrong the first time and they had to go back and circle back. Yes. So yeah, I mean, like, The thing is Misfits seems like they're on the ball. They seems like they're rolling, which is particularly interesting. And when Fabivin joins us later on, I will be interested to ask these questions.
Yes.
Because Dan and him were the only players that got a chance towards the end of the year last year. And now with some changes that a lot of people criticized, like everybody, like I think Tyler said at one point, like was describing every LEC team in one word and said Misfits who was his word, like who question mark. And clearly like these guys, B-Boy obviously like has been criticized too. He was mediocre in Brazil. He's a South Korean player that played in CBLOL at some point. But yeah, I mean, overall, like Razork and Denik deserve a lot of praise because I think they are playing well, and they're two of the best rookies in the LEC by a country mile.
So from the success of Misfits, and yes, we are endeavoring to bring you Febivin. We hopefully will get to that a little bit later on. But let's go to Los Angeles right now. Emily and Tyler, a tweet from Perks after this weekend. O2 week, we'll need a lot of subs to make me happy pursuing my streaming career. Ha ha, lol, lol, lol. But when you dissect G2's weekend, what strikes you the most? Emily, let's start with you.
So yeah, I think G2, the first game that they had against Misfits, I'm going to say it was a little bit more of Misfits ending up playing better. I think they touched upon this earlier with Razork, his signature jungle echo pick. I think they had a better understanding of what they wanted to do. It was also G2's first time bringing out top lane Sona, which relies on a lot of the same things that top lane Soraka does with, I won't say abusing support items, but the state of support items and the state of healing allows her to get away with similar things that Sona does. But Sona is a bit more tankier. She can withstand a lot more lane pressure where she just kind of farms under turret. Sona is significantly squishier. So I think they definitely saw that in execution.